Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day? Were you in the yard with your wife and children, or working on some stage?
Hi, my name is Alejandro Rajkumar. I'm in the 8th grade and I'm doing a project on interviewing people on the reactions of 9/11.
Okay, Nick, where were you when this happened?
I was in the North Tower on the 3rd floor.
Did you think this was a terrorist attack right away or an accident?
I thought it was an accident because I didn't think someone would do such a thing to somebody.
Did you escape right before the towers collapsed or a long time before?
I escaped before because it took a while for the towers to collapse.
Do you still have nightmares or flashbacks?
I do because it was such a tragic event.
Do you try to forget or do you always want to remember?
I don't want to remember, but it's impossible to forget because it was such a nightmare.
Hi, my name is Alan. I go to FIU part-time and I work in construction with my father.
When 9/11 happened, where were you? Did you have any family in New York?
It was my sophomore year of high school and it was during my second period class that when it happened, and I didn't know anyone in my family that went through it, thankfully, but I did have a teacher who was very sweet, and she was supposed to work at the towers that summer, but instead she declined it and decided to be a teacher. But when she found that out, she was really troubled and ran out of class crying.
When do you think people started to notice this was an act of terror besides an accident?
It's hard to say when people started thinking it was. I didn't think right away it was an attack, but in time, I guess after the initial shock of it went away, we all started wondering who did this and why.
Why do you think these men attacked the Twin Towers?
I think because we're just upset with our culture and just the way things are with us. We're different from them, and they're different from us.
How do you think this affected the United States as a country?
It made us more cautious at the airports and in everyday life. Basically, just like me, for example, I go to the airport. They'll spend a little extra time with me. They'll search my stuff a little more. They used to, not as much now because it's calmed down.
What do you think, in your point of view, America should have done after this happened?
I don't know, that's hard to say because we didn't have all the information that we needed.
Alright, so what's up? My name is Hansel. I work with children. I teach them how to improve their concentration and their ability to focus in school.
When 9/11 happened, where were you? Did you have any family in New York?
I was actually in school. It happened in the morning, so I was a sophomore, and we just got word of it on the PA, and all of our teachers turned on the monitors in the classroom. And it was actually pretty moving to see. We didn't have class, we were just gripped to the TV. This story was unfolding in front of us. We were just glued to it. We were like, what's gonna happen next? We couldn't actually believe something like that was happening. Maybe it was a prank, I don't know. But we were just there. And I have family in New York, but they're in Queens, so they weren't really, thankfully they weren't really in that area.
When do you think people started to notice this was an act of terror besides an accident?
I can't say for sure, for certain, for everyone. With myself, I wanted to delay that opinion or that thought as much as possible. So even though in front of me I was watching the towers fall, it was incredibly moving to see that. You're watching two landmarks of freedom being destroyed that are known all across the world. You're watching it just fall slowly, and you actually can't believe this thing can happen. So you're watching it. I just wanted to delay that opinion. I actually don't know when that thought came across my mind.
Why do you think these men attacked the Twin Towers?
Again, I can't say. I don't know what they were thinking. Obviously, they have motives, and they have their intentions. People do some very stupid things in the world. It's unfortunate. There are very sad people who have just, have a concentration of hatred, and sometimes it's concentrated very specifically in a certain place and area. That's all I can say.
How do you think this affected the United States as a country?
I know that I can't speak for everyone. I know that me and my friends, we really thought, and we were 14 at the time, 14 or 15, and 16 years old. So this was like the very first time in our history, in our lives, as teenagers, as kids, that we had to sit back and think, wow, America is not invulnerable to acts of terror, if that's what you wanted to label it. We're not invincible. And it was really like a shot to ourselves as well. We've always dubbed ourselves, anyone who lives in here, this is the land of the free. And we want it to be that way. We want it to be free for everyone. So for something like that to happen right in front of us, as a 15-year-old kid sitting in school, not really thinking about any of life's problems.
Hi, my name is Shadi Gonzalez. I'm a senior at St. Thomas University studying communication arts.
When 9/11 happened, where were you? Did you know anybody in the towers? If so, did they perish?
When 9/11 happened, I was in elementary school. My school was actually located 15 to 20 minutes from the Twin Towers. I actually knew a guy who was a firefighter, and he used to coach basketball on the weekends, and he helped save people from the towers when they were falling, and he was actually really an awesome guy. And every year, this little league at my hometown, they actually give out a trophy in his name because of what he did and because of his family.
What grade were you in and how old were you?
I was in 4th grade and I was about 10 years old. When 9/11 happened, I was actually, I believe, in 2nd period, and we heard a big, boom, we actually heard the plane hitting the building, and I had a teacher, and he was a bit weird, and he actually thought God was crying as a joke, but it really wasn't a joke, and we heard on the intercom that we had to evacuate and go to the parish hall.
How did you get home from school knowing that everything was blocked off?
Getting home was pretty hard. My mom was actually pregnant with my little sister. I want to say she was about 5 to 6 months, and she worked 2 blocks away from the Twin Towers. So I was actually the last kid to get picked up, which was kind of hard because I didn't know where my mom was. Obviously no phones were working. I just had to sit there and wait, and I know my mom was pregnant, so I know it would have been harder for her. She actually had to walk down 16 flights of stairs, and then cops helped her get to me. But I was definitely the last kid to get picked up, and it took us about all day to get home. We got home at 6 p.m. and we actually, no trains were working until around 1 o'clock. And it was actually only the A train, and I didn't live near the A train. I actually lived in the Bronx, which is pretty far from Manhattan, obviously because no trains were working. So it was pretty serious because they wouldn't even let my dad come across the bridge and pick us up. But I got home really late that day.
After this tragedy happened, did you feel safe living in New York?
No. It was kind of scary because I did go to school in Manhattan, so my school didn't open up very soon. It took longer because of the dust and the lack of transportation. Also, it was kind of scary knowing that my stepfather had an interview in the Twin Towers, but my little brother didn't want to go to school that day. What a coincidence. And so my dad decided not to go to the interview and to stay home with my brother while me and my mom went to school and she went to work.